Friday night is here once again. We've got all the touchdowns, big hits, and everything in between from another week of high school football. Tonight, Joplin takes its perfect record on the road to Webb City for maybe its toughest test yet. Meanwhile, two unbeatens square off in the Big 8. Seneca hasn't given up a single point in 3 weeks. It faces a Lamar team who has revenge on its mind after losing to the Indians in last year's regular season. Plus, Baxter Springs hasn't given up any points yet either, but it gets a much tougher challenge tonight against Afton. Highlights from those games and a lot more across the 4 states. It's week 3 of Fox 14 Press Box, and it starts right now.
You're watching Fox 14's Press Box, sponsored by Missouri Southern State University, Matco Builders, Roper Kia, and Kramer's Quality Meats of Grove.
Hey, welcome into week 3 of Fox 14 Press Box. I'm KOAM Sports Director John Dales. I'm joined as always by our sports reporter Brock Baldridge.
Well, you know, we've had another packed week of Friday Night Football. And, John, this week we had a lot of undefeated teams face each other.
Yeah, we did. We start with our game of the week. Undefeated Joplin at 3-0 goes on the road to 2-1 Webb City. Eagles trying to remain undefeated. Really tough place to play, though, at Webb City. They're coming off 2 straight wins. The Joplin defense forces a 3-and-out. Then their first offensive possession. Hobbs Gooch with a throwback screen to tight end Whit Hafer. The big man turns on the burners and rumbles 60 yards to the house. Eagles punch the Cardinals in the mouth early. They're up 7-0. Same score. Next play, Gabe Johnson muffs the kickoff initially, picks it up, makes a cut, and he's going to take this one all the way to the end zone. We're tied 7-7. More special teams miscues for Joplin in the first quarter. A muffed punt, and the Cardinals fall on it. They turn him over, and they know exactly who to go to. Their quarterback, Braden McKee, finds Johnson in the flat. This time he scores on a receiving touchdown. Cardinals go up 14-7. They hang on for their first win over Joplin in 4 years. 38-21, the final score. And another game we really look forward to this week is Lamar-Seneca.
Yeah, you know, perhaps the Big 8 football game of the week. You know, both teams were undefeated last year in the regular season. And it was Seneca who beat Lamar in the regular season last year. But then it was Lamar who beat Seneca in the playoffs. So Lamar got to go to the state title game after that win. And so this time they meet again, and we get to see who gets their revenge. 2 undefeated Big 8 teams go at it head-to-head. Lamar is 3-0 against Seneca, who's also 3-0. Starting off with the opening drive of the game, Lamar has the ball 3rd and long. Cooper Hahn goes to Ian Googie. He'll score easily to the house. Touchdown, Lamar Tigers. They take a 7-0 lead. Lamar's off to a great start, but Seneca had some answers in this game. First drive of the game for the Indians, and that's Gavin Hoover. He's going to take it himself, and that's going to be a huge gain to put the Indians in good field position. That will set up this 4th down play on the goal line. Hoover scrambles and finds Morgan Vaughn for the touchdown. Seneca still trails 7-6. So what do? Well, let's just go for 2. Hoover is able to drive into the end zone to get the conversion, and it is good. The Indians have an 8-7 lead. So early in the second quarter now, same score. Hahn is looking to pass, but it gets picked off. Look out, Brody Probert. He's going to take this all the way to the house for a pick 6. Seneca will miss the PAT, so the Indians take a 14-7 lead at halftime. And how about the Seneca Indians? They go on to win a huge game over the number 1 ranked Lamar Tigers, 28-14. Wow, huge game there.
That is a huge win for them.
Yes.
Now, a couple of COC teams that have struggled to begin the season, Carthage and Carl Junction. Seems like it's a must-win situation for both of them. Definitely feels like it. Bulldogs are 1-2, coming off a win over Neosho last week. Now, Carthage jumps out to a big first-half lead. They were up 19-0 at one point, led 27-21. Second half, though, Carl Junction quarterback keeper Dexter Merrill picks up some decent yardage. Didn't want to go down. Later in the drive, tries it again, tries to scramble, but only sees Tiger defenders. Gets pushed out of bounds by a host of defenders. Now, CJ, down by 6, fakes a punt in its own territory, can't convert. Ball goes to Carthage. They put it in the hands of their tailback, Landon Collins, and he drags a couple of tacklers with him for a first down into the red zone. Now, 4th and 5, Carthage going for it. Brady Carlton lost one up, Carson Murray on the other end of that rainbow makes the catch. Tigers go up 2 scores. They win by 2 scores, 41-28.
Another big game in the Big 8 tonight. It's McDonald County at the Nevada Tigers. For both teams, you know who will prevail in this game. And John, it was the Nevada Tigers who won 34-7, and that will set up a huge matchup next week between Nevada and Mount Vernon.
Yeah, big matchup because Mount Vernon is also undefeated. The Mountaineers take down Logan Rogersville 21-14. Both of those teams, Nevada and Mount Vernon, going to be 4-0 heading into next week.
Elsewhere in the Big 8 tonight, East Newton against Cassville. Both teams looking to bounce back after a loss. And you know, John, you never want to say moral victories, but East Newton, give them some credit. You know, they've been hanging around in most of their games this year, but however, it was Cassville who wins convincingly 22-6.
One more score from the Big 8. Aurora and Springfield Catholic both enter the night winless, and the Hound Dogs pick up their first win of the season. They do so convincingly, 32-0 final score.
Over to the COC now. It's the Wildcats looking for their first win for the season, and they go against Republic at home tonight. Unfortunately, Neosho may have to wait another week as points were at a premium tonight for the Wildcats. 49 unanswered points from Republic, and Neosho loses this game 56-21. John, send us a
Well, that brings us to our first break on Fox 14 Press Box. We got plenty more highlights, including another undefeated clash between Afton and Baxter Springs. That game coming up next.
Welcome back to Press Box here on Fox 14. You know, one of our local Southeast Kansas teams, Baxter Springs, has been on an absolute roll this season. The Lions have yet to allow a single point. Meanwhile, the Afton Eagles, they're also undefeated and not too shabby themselves. Tonight, we get a chance to see, well, who's legit. Baxter Springs versus Afton. Afton up 12-9 at half. So in the first 2 minutes of the second half, Baxter Springs puts together a run here by the quarterback. We'll go down there. Then the QB run, number 13, Peyton Gage, gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Both teams then continue to try to make something happen. However, 3 drives in a row are going to result in some punts here. But Baxter Springs is going to be able to put up a safety. Look out, where's the football going to go? It's going to roll out of the end zone, making the game 19-12. So early in the fourth, Afton looking deep in their own territory, and that botched snap results in the safety. So Baxter Springs out 21-12. Afton trying to put together some life back in this game, but the tip pass results in an interception, which then leads to another touchdown by the Lions with another QB run by Gage. The Lions will keep the score 27-12 with a win over the Eagles.
Another Kansas school that started the year with 2 wins is Parsons. The Vikings beat Prairie View by 34 in Week 1. They get an impressive 24-13 win over Labette County last week. Tonight, Parsons tries to start 3-0 for the second consecutive year. Taking on Iola, and this will be a fight of the defenses in the first half. Trey Mack with the quarterback keeper. Nice yardage there. Later in the drive, Jamarian Washington finds his way to an 11-yard gain. A few plays later, though, Mack wobbling duck, and it gets picked off by Corbin Cloud. That gives it to Iola. But as you can see here, Iola doesn't do anything with it, punts the ball away. Parsons attempting to get the pass offense going again, but Mack gets picked for the second time. Damian Wacker. But Parsons gets an interception of their own later on in the half. We would be scoreless at halftime. Both offenses find their footing into second. 21-12, Parsons ends up winning.
Yeah, you know, Parsons, tougher than the best $2 steak in town. The Frontenac Raiders begin this season 1-1, coming off of 1 loss, but they put together a nice home run against Riverton last week, and they look to make it 2 in a row this week. Frontenac at home for the second straight week, going up against Bishop Ward. The Cyclones are in town. Frontenac led 21-12 at halftime. Raiders get the ball in the third quarter, but Cal Turlup's just going to dump it off to Peyton McDonald on the screenplay, and all he's got to do is run straight forward, and he does the rest. Touchdown Raiders. They lead 28-12 coming out of the second half here. So next Bishop Ward possession. The Cyclones have a stud and a running back, Javion Braden, as he's going to break tackles and rumble through defenders. And he's going to look out here, fumble the football. The big fella fumbles the ball out of the end zone, and that's going to be a touchback. Big break for the Frontenac defense. A couple possessions later, the Raiders defense is back out there on the field. Bishop Ward looks to go long, but it's Trey Kramer who intercepts that pass. And he's going to return this for a long ways. But at the end of this play, there's going to be a penalty. So that will set up 1st and goal for the Raiders. inside Bishop Ward territory. Next snap, Turlip hands off to Caden Chance as he goes into the end zone untouched. It's all Raiders tonight. Frontenac picks up their second win of the season as they defeat Bishop Ward 42-26.
You know, you're right. That running back is a lot like Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Labette County and Pittsburgh both lose last week. Tonight they square off. Purple Dragons win 45-14. Next up for Pittsburgh, home game against Fort Scott. Labette County goes on the road to Wellington next week.
Well, that's a big bounce-back win for Pittsburgh. Speaking of the team that beat Pittsburgh last year, Chanute on the road for the second straight weekend after an impressive shut-up performance against the Purple Dragons. The Blue Comets head north to play Tonganoxie against the Chief Titans, and they win big in this one as Tonganoxie defeats Chanute 38-21.
That was a shocking score to see. Fort Scott at home tonight. They win 42-6 against Independence. Important stretch upcoming for the Tigers. They got Pittsburgh, then Labette County, then Chanute in the next 3 weeks.
Well, we have some Three Rivers Action League tonight, and Jacob Leonard's Yates Center Wildcats on the road against St. Paul. And speaking of Jacob Leonard, well, I hope he looks away at the score of this one, as it was St. Paul who pounded Yates Center 56-0 final score.
And a week ago, Quapaw took down Galena 47-20. Tonight they beat another Kansas school in Northeast 37-20 final score. We got another break here on Press Box. Stick around. Last week's Performers of the Week, Colgan, go on the road for the first time this season against the much-improved Riverton team. Highlights from that game coming up next. Welcome back into Press Box here on Fox 14. Earlier in the show, we saw Baxter Springs stay unbeaten against Afton. Another Kansas school with a perfect record 2 weeks in is Colgan. The Panthers took down Frontenac in a close game, then destroyed Girard before going on the road to Riverton tonight. Riverton Rams getting their home opener against a real tough opponent in Colgan. Riverton gets the ball first and brings it down inside the Panther 25. They go for it on 4th and 1 though. Noah Harper unable to get it. Unfortunately for the Rams, just not able to get things going after that. Both the Rams and Panthers tied at 0, but at the end of the first, Panthers turn on the heat in the second. They start with getting a touchdown just 5 seconds into the second quarter. Panthers then recover a fumble, which leads to another 7 points. There's Cooper Simmons again. After that, there isn't much standing in the way of the Panthers in victory. Tucker Harrell rumbling down the far sideline and then goes right back to number 22, Cooper Simmons. The two of them combined for 28 points. Colgan beats Riverton 35-0.
And Colgan's been a well-oiled machine this year. Well, we go to another game this CNC tonight as Galena takes on Girard. Both the teams are coming off of a loss. The Bulldogs are looking to win their first game of the season. As for the Trojans, on the other hand, they're looking for their second win of the season. We're now heading to Galena where the Bulldogs are taking on the Girard Trojans. Drake Kotzman gets the massive tackle for the Bulldogs running back Caleb Burkhart. Then the next play was a bad snap recovered by Galena. Now for the Trojans, it's a massive run by Junior Love twice in a row. Girard, another run up the middle, but this one is going to be stopped for a short gain. It'll be right up here. Fortunately, can't get the gain there. So Girard goes for the quarterback keeper, and Jake Towner is stopped for a minimal gain here. Another run by Girard, which looks to have faked out the cameraman here. You see on this play, can't find it there. Run for the Trojans, Aiden Ashbacher here in the next play. He's going to take this one all the way to the end zone. He's not going to stop, but it's going to be called back for holding, and Girard is going to counter with another Towner touchdown, and that's going to be good enough for the win as Galena does stop the 2-point conversion at the end, and it's Girard that beats Galena 38-0.
Staying in Kansas, over to the Tri-Valley League. Erie and Fredonia face each other tonight. Yellow Jackets win that one 26-14.
In the Tri-Valley League, Canyon Valley Bullpups are at home tonight versus the Eureka Tornadoes. It was all Bullpups tonight as they stomp out the Tornadoes 58-16 final score there.
Humboldt, another team in that conference, has not run into many problems early in the season. Cubs enter Friday 2-0 with a 70-point win in week 1, 20-point win last week. They win by 42 tonight over in Neodesha. They play Council Grove next week.
We can raise a W for those Cubs, huh? Well, the Wyandotte Bears are home tonight, and they have really turned things around as they beat Porter 47-18 to improve to 3-0 on the season. How about the Bears?
Cubs and Bears win. Wow, look at that. And Miami goes on the road to Dewey. This was a game originally scheduled for week 0 on August 25th. It got postponed because of the extreme heat. A few weeks later, the War Dogs say, I don't care when we're playing this game, we're going to end up winning anyways. They take it 34-20. And we've run into our final break here on Press Box. Stick around. We've got more highlights coming your way, including Columbus hosting Coffeyville, and we'll reveal your choices for the performance of the week back on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back into Fox 14 Press Box with Brock Baldridge. I'm John Dales. We've shown you a few CNC teams in action tonight. Another one with the home game is Columbus.
Yeah, the Titans, they've been kind of hit or miss recently. They look to turn around this week after the loss last week to Afton. They go against a really good team, Field Kinley, who's coming off of a win. They pick things up. Field Kinley already up 28-6. Aaron Tunstall going to get the handoff from Axe Ernie, and he gets taken down the Titan 28-yard line. A few plays later, Amani Luton breaks free from the defense. Boy, John, he is so fast. He receives the pass from Ernie, who takes it for the score, 35-6 Golden Tornado. Columbus would punt on their next possession, so Field Kinley with the ball again deep in Titan territory, like they've been all night. Luton, once again, have his number called, taking down at the 8-yard line. Next play, Joshua Shobi takes the handoff, and he would run past the defense for the score, and that would put up 42-6 at that point, and they would cruise on to get this win, 42-12, and Field Kinley looking good.
Really impressive win from them on the road against the CNC team.
Yes, absolutely. We now turn to Missouri 8-man football. Greatest show on turf, John. We have had so many points. And tonight we get this chance to see College Heights, what they have in store for us.
Yeah, last week they had a 78-70 shootout loss to Greenfield. Tonight they're back in Joplin hosting Liberal. Now we head to some 8-man action. College Heights Cougars, Liberal Bulldogs. Fireworks immediately. Logan Decker throws this one deep. Cannon Miller is there for the touchdown for the Cougars. On the ensuing kick return, Quincy Bazal returns it. Nobody's going to stop him. One cut and he's gone. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Though it does look like quarterback not necessarily paying attention to the snap on that 2-point conversion. He has to fall on it. Now later on, Nolan Shaw throws to Bazal. He gets another touchdown. Moss is the defender. Number 11, Brody Wilson, gets the 2-pointer. Here, he plows into the end zone. Matt Williams with a 10-yard tumble later on in this play for College Heights. Decker later on throws. He's picked off by Liberal's Dalton Davis. They get the ball back to the Bulldogs, though another mismanaged snap. And it leads to College Heights. Kyson Miller coming up with it. Miller, unshaken by the last interception, throws deep to Colson Dickens for a Cougar touchdown. Bulldogs try a little trickery here late. That drive gets stopped. The end score 54-52. College Heights ends up winning.
Offense, and more offense. And we have more action and more offense here in the Missouri 8-man football tonight as the Jasper Eagles are on the road against Drexel, and it was a long night for the Eagles as it was Drexel who rips off 58 points to beat Jasper 58-12.
It's impressive holding an 8-man team to just 12 points. Rounding out our scores in Missouri for the night, El Dorado Springs enters the night 0-3. Coming off that 3 overtime loss to Buffalo last week. Well, they finally do get their first win of the season. Tonight, it's 33-30 on the road at Versailles.
Big win for the Bulldogs. Grove versus Wagner. This is kind of the under-the-radar type of game in the state of Oklahoma. Both teams undefeated. A couple of schools that have produced some pretty big high school or college and high school football talent. And game of the week was out there in the Tulsa market, but it was the Wagner Bulldogs who come up victorious to beat the Grove Ridge Runners 35-14.
Another Oklahoma game, this one played yesterday. Fairland falls on the road to Liberty. Real tough start to the season for the Owls. They're now 0-3, but they try to get back on track. Doesn't get any easier. They face unbeaten Wyandotte on the road next week.
John, that's going to be a huge game coming into next week. Well, how about the Welch Wildcats? They'll be on the road tonight going against the Blue Jacket Chief Titans, and it's those Blue Wildcats. They get the job done. They take down Blue Jacket Chief Titans 48-6. High-scoring game there for Welch.
Welch under the radar, undefeated as well.
Yes, they are, yes.
Well, we've enjoyed going through all the highlights of these games. Now it's time where we turn things over to you, to the viewers, to give us your thoughts as you guys vote on the performance of the week. Your first choice is Girard, who bounces back from a blowout loss to Colgan last week. This time they're the ones blowing out their opponents. Trojans win 38-0 on the road at Galena in a CNC battle.
And your second option are the Webb City Cardinals, who beat the Joplin Eagles 38-21. They enter this game unbeaten. Webb City gets even with the first and second string running backs out in this game.
And finally, our third option, Seneca. Indians go on the road to Lamar. They repeat what they did last year. They beat the Tigers in the regular season. They win that game 28-14 to stay perfect. Tell you what, not an easy option there. A lot of good teams.
I was about to say, I mean, if it's a multiple choice, I mean, you don't really know which one to pick because we got so many great games in that one.
It's too bad you can only vote once. But that's all the time we have for you on this edition of Fox 14 Press Box. Make sure to vote in that Performance of the Week poll. It's KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll leave you with another look at some of the best plays from across the 4 states. We'll talk to you again next Friday night.